Hello everyone, we sound like the Jug Gamer here and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. Last time, we got all the way up to this part because Emmy does not even appear in the first video. I still find that hilarious that both Rin and Emmy don't appear until halfway through Act 1. But anyways, we're going to be doing something a bit different for this act and Lily's act. Instead of me just trying to summarize things and then fill in blank space, I'm actually going to go and be describing not only fun facts about Katawa Shoujo, but also its history. And let me tell you, this game has one hell of a history. But first, we don't have too much time before we get to Emmy's part, so I'm going to start off with some fun facts. Alright, so the first fact I'm so already laughing, but the first fact is actually the font that not only does the game use, but what I have been using on the thumbnails. The official font, according to Aura, one of the creators and writers of Emmy's Path, is that the font is called Playtime with Hot Toddies. Oh, I'm sorry, that gets me every time. Anyways, okay. So now let's get to Emmy's proper. Just around the corner of the hallway, something hits me in the chest with the force of a runaway train. Ouch! Opening my eyes, I see a pair of saucer-like green eyes looking at me. They belong to the perpetrator, a short girl who bumped into me and now has fallen down onto the hallway floor. She wears a PE uniform and a very worried frown. The former strikes me as a rather strange thing to have on during a lunch break. More striking than that, though, is that she doesn't have any legs. Or she does, but they are not of flesh and bone. Her pale and very much flesh and bone thighs end in shins, and feet made of some black metallic or plastic-like material. They look disturbingly artificial and unnatural. It almost makes me forget that my chest is hurting. Girl winces a little, rubs her nose and jumps up. Aw man, hey, are you alright? I'm sorry about that, really? I was just looking where I was going and she just came out of nowhere. Sorry. Looking very apologetic, in the puppy way of looking apologetic. I quickly forget about being angry or anything, since puppies are my weak spot. So Chloe, don't worry about it. Say that, but there's a stinging pain growing in my chest, and I know that this is about the biggest possible danger for my condition. Don't overexert yourself, don't forget your medication, and most of all, don't get hit in the chest. Head over my solar plexus to chase the pain away, holding my breath in an attempt to hear my heartbeat. It seems normal. Hey, should I get a nurse? The worried, high-pitched voice of the girl snaps me out of it. I sat off for a few seconds, dumbfounded, until I realized that I probably looked worse than I really was, doubled over myself and looking all tense. Damn, I'm overly worried about my heart. You have a very good reason to be! No need, I'm fine. Managing to say something in response, I pull myself upright, feeling my sore ribs one last time and take a deep breath. She just sucked the wind out of me. Big time, but it's nothing more than that. Are you okay? I hit you pretty hard. It's okay, I said I was fine, and there's nothing broken. No harm done. That's good, I feel a hand on my shoulder at the same time the girl's eyes widen in horror. Whatever she said, that went fast. I don't have time to look behind me because Shizune's already shoved me aside and stomping over to the girl, standing furiously at her. Mr. Mizuraki! I saw that! Running in the house is strictly forbidden! Misha translate right on Shizune's tail, but her voice is ghoulishly playful, not full of the divine fury Shizune's arm movement would seem to call for. Sorry, I was just gonna get some stuff, and I was in a kind of a hurry. You've been told this 1,000 times before. Your reckless behavior endangers other students, and even worse, is explicitly against the school regulations. The girl blushes and starts fidgeting nervously like a little child caught misbehaving. I mean, she is misbehaving. It's so cute, I found myself smiling. I know that, Make sure this will not happen again. Although I'm sure telling you this is futile. It only causes me further headache when you choose to ignore the regulations. Got that, Abby? Small girl sticks her tongue out in response. Ah! I gotta go! Teacher will have my head! Phone's out with printouts, but I went running instead. Sorry, but I gotta change and everything. And run off she goes. Before Misha, Shizune, or I could say anything, she already bolted from where she was a second ago, almost halfway towards the stairwell. Shizune looks like she's about to go nuclear on the spot, so I smile at her in a vain attempt to calm her down. Hey, it's not that big of a deal, don't worry about it. Are you okay, Hee-chan? That Ibarazaki girl is always like that, causing trouble to others. You know, I'm pretty certain the Shizune wouldn't call me Hee-chan. Never mind! Yeah, anyway, I'm okay. Just got the wind knocked out of me. That's great, Hee-chan! I don't call that great, but I'll let it slide this one time. We have to run now. There's an important student council meeting regarding the festival, and we've finally decided where to eat. Too bad you can't join, but this lunch meeting is only for council members. We can take you there some other time. Oh, but that'd be a date, wouldn't it? Hee The girls leave for downstairs. I didn't manage to get far from the third floor hallway before all this commotion struck. Literally, I should be going as well. Now that we are back to scenes that are ultimately irrelevant, it's time for us to go and talk about some of the fun facts of Katawa Shoujo. More specifically, those of, well, art book varieties. Katawa Shoujo has released, well, more specifically 4-Leaf Clover. Oh, 4-Leaf Studios! They've released numerous art books on their website, and some of them are on, I believe it was called Comic Kit? Kit? I forget. It's a Dojin convention. Dojin convention I'll get into later. But anyways, here are some of the art books that you could get from the website. One of them, which is only in Japanese, is the player's guide actually. Yeah, the player guide for this thing is apparently all in Japanese, and if you actually look at it, it's all in Japanese as you expected. But there actually are a couple links that still work today, which I find that to be interesting. I checked out a couple of them myself, and yeah, it's just about news about Katawa Shoujo, which is honestly interesting. Next one, we have Fragments of Summer. The Fragments of Summer has an English and Japanese version, and pretty much all that this does is change the forewords and postwords. Oh, postscript I mean. But this one, Fragments of Summer, contains a bunch of pictures of, well, the girls of summer with herself. It's just like what would happen if they were, you know, in summer vacation. Out and about, some are chilling with fans, some are making castles, some are in bikini. There's even a little comic, which I find to be hilarious. The next one after that is Midwinter. And as you guess, if the Fragments of Summer is about summer, this one is about winter. And of course, once again, it has a Japanese and an English variety. And again, the only thing that changes is the forward and postward. This one shows the goals in, well, winter. Some are wearing their cozy scarves, some are ice skating. It's honestly pretty adorable. The next art book we have that's only in English is Tomorrow Today. It has, again, the forward, postward, and it's the best way I could explain it is like their future. Like what happened after their, well, after what happened in the school life. That's like the best way I can explain that, because it's not really... It's a bunch of cute pictures with modern stuff. Now, the Kawasoft art book. It's only in French, and it's spoilers. While all the other ones are just funny, cute, like pictures of the goals. Kawasoft art book contains actual pictures from the game, from the CGs. So if you want to spoil yourself, you can go look at that if you want. I personally wouldn't. Next one we have after that is Imperfect Spectrum. And again, it's only in English, forward, postward, that normal stuff. So that one is really just pictures of the goals. There isn't exactly a coherent theme. There's some that are in winter, some like in summer. Like some of these also like happen during the school year. Happy memories. Also a bit of fantasy. It's just... it's worth a read. Comic Cat. So it is called Comic Cat. Next up we have Beauty and Strangefulness. Now, Beauty and Strangeness was released in 2016, only in English if I recall. Yeah, only in English. Again, we have the introduction by Aura. And this one is not exactly a actually, is there? It's really just like what it says. It's like beauty you find in the weirdness. There's even like a maid vid. No, not vid. Maid Emmy. With cameos. Kinda cute. And yes, I am actually looking at these while this is going on. And the last one. The soft hour I am not going to actually go into. It's only in English, and again that only affects the forward and postward. But in fact, this one is not from Aura, at least not specifically. And if I would have showed anything in this one, Sensui would be glaring at me. It's very much, where all the other ones are like cute art styles, this one's very much the naughty knots. And you know how Sensui feels about naughty knots. Okay, so that's the art books. There's also a couple of wallpapers that you could get from the site. There's one where there's just Misha's angry face. There's one with the SD, well, it says it's SD goals, and it shows the 5 goals. Like a chibi version of the 5 goals, and there's a giant area above them to play something. There's a wizard which looks like one of Bryn's artwork. There's one called Tiles, which I don't even know how to explain. There's one that's just Shizune. And then you have Soviet! Yeah, Soviet's weird. And then you have link banners, which there's 3 of them: small, medium, and standard. And it's just Katawa Shoujo with the words disability goes under it. The bigger you go, the more you see of like sketchbook. And that's all you can get from the downloads, besides obviously the download files. You can get the full version, which is what I'm playing. You get Act 1. And of course the soundtrack, which if you have the game, you unlock the soundtrack when you listen to it. But I guess it's better for if you're on the go. So that's all that you could get from the downloads page on Katawa Shoujo. I don't know why my mind was farting there. I need to go to sleep soon. Okay, I am back for another day because I had stuff to do. And during my bit of research, I actually was able to find some of the other art books. Katawa Fantasy and Past is a Prologue. So I'm gonna go and show those 2. Note Katawa Fantasy does have nudity in it, the Naughty Nuts. So just keep in mind of that. Anyways, every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the cam from one hand to another because the thin handles cut into my palm. At least it keeps my arms from tiring too fast. Vince strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching. Or maybe I am walking weird because of the extra weight. It seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast. I can't figure out which is which. 2 flights of stairs below, trouble appears in the form of the head nurse and his fox-like grin. Ah, Mr. Nakai! What a happy coincidence! Tezuka too, of course! He nods courteously to Vin, who does not acknowledge him back. Then turns to me, because obviously it's me who he had some business with. There's something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod and wait passively because I can't even begin to guess what he forgot. Putting of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. About your medication. Since you haven't been that long on your current medications, there might be some unexpected side effects, which might require adjusting dosages or even changing to another kind of medication. So we will do a few tests regularly, but what I want is for you to keep an eye on everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything. But come see me if something happens. Oh boy, that'd be a shame. Alright, well make sure nothing bad happens. So how are you? Everything fine? I give up and jump the cat to the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer. Then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too. Teachers and students here. My parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. Essential for a hospital, not so much for a school. Except this school. This is a small school and both the student base and the faculty seem to be very tightly knit. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. This is not the kind of school that gets transferred students too often. Thought shed shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. That's great! Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the school track nor even the pool, so I'd like to know if you have taken up exercising as I asked. Of course I haven't, but his way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should have been running my ass off on the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? Not as such. I just happen to know a few people, but that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. Well, I was actually doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. See? Holding up the can up and down a few times, like some stat imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down on my arms painfully. See? But the doing good disappears from his face for a second, and comes back like it was never done. On. Asuka, would you give us a second? The nurse grabs me by the shoulder without waiting for Vince's permission, which he didn't need in the first place, and drags me aside. When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that you're still in your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it'll be. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise me to be more serious about this from now on? This is the reason why this scene is included. You have to say yes to this. If you're going to say maybe, you will not be able to go on Emmy's path. Yeah, I promise. Definitely. I'll try harder. He studies for a moment and then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. If you go to the school check tomorrow morning, you'll meet my spy, who possibly have no qualms offering constellations to you if you want to jog for a bit. Constellations? See you around! He leaves with a wave of his hand and no answer, and I walk to Rin, who has been waiting idly leaning against the hallway wall and staring at the pale lighting fixtures in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off them. Are you getting medications for your heart thingy? Were you listening? Turns out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out on her. But even so, I don't really want to start talking about it. I just met her, I don't know her, it's none of her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality too, talking about that kind of thing in public. But it's not Rin's fault, is it? I look at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Rin is just staring past my shoulder quizzically, her head tilted like a bird's. Ugh. I don't know why this is so hard for me. It feels like there's some inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more open front about this. Yeah, they're for my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. They just make me a little less worse. Mickey's will get me for a while longer. She neither says anything further, nor displays any kind of emotion I could discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I think I'm still not quite used to all this. As the hospital, it was easy, but still haven't sorted my feelings about having to live a normal life with this disability. Okay, so besides the fact of ignoring that no one wants Hisao to swim, which according to someone in Reddit, swimming is actually a bad idea because it applies more pressure on your blood, which makes your heart have to pump harder. Which, to be fair, is kind of what we want, but at the same time, not for exercising. So, does the nurse actually want to kill? Hisao? No, but I just find it funny, because when I saw that, I was like, wait, what? When I asked for some fun facts on Reddit. So again, this could be incorrect, I just find that to be funny. But, the two, art books that I was able to find actually came from, well, one of the writer's own website. Yeah, CPL Crud, the writer of Hanako's Route, actually was able to find and translate the art books. Because, Past is Prologue actually has a, well, story in it, duet, and it's based off of Lily's. I was going to save that for, Lily's Route, but I figured it'd be good here since I'm already talking about the art books. And it'd be weird to dislodge that one. But yeah, no, so if you want to go and read the other art books, I will have them in the description below. And not only do we have those, but Crud actually wrote some more rope stories for this. The final finale, a Hanako Hisao follow-up story, A Runner's Afternoon, another follow-up story for those two 10 years later, Shoujo, which was a scene that was cut from the game, 10 July 1990, A letter from Hanukkah's dad. 28th birthday. A short that they wrote. Misha's Path. A joke that they played some years ago. And Bad End. One of the first things they wrote for Katawa Shoujo. Before 4-Leaf Studios was even a group. So again, I'll go and also have that part in it. The description. Actually, probably shouldn't because you can just click on Katawa Shoujo. It's actually harder to find the art books than it is finding those. But yeah. That's what Creta's been doing. They're actually working on their own, well, they made their own studio, Lucid A96. And working on a visual novel called Historia, which is a lot more horror than Katawa Shoujo is. But that's going to be all for this time. This is really Sonic the Jug Gamer. I hope you enjoyed this series so far, and I hope to see all you guys again next time. See you guys then.